Today I want to talk about something a little different, but still at least partially related to historical martial arts. Namely, what's it like to be knocked out, to black out, all that. It happened to me a couple of times in my life. Never in HEMA practice, oddly enough, so far. But one time was when I overexerted myself in the gym and my cardiovascular system couldn't handle it, and this was something where I could really tell that something was very wrong, because I felt absolutely horrendous. I was extremely nauseated and dizzy, and just an overall body feeling that was just miserable. I was just sitting there suffering, and then I collapsed. Another time, well, two separate times, was when I was sick. It was some kind of flu or whatever, and that knocked me out. And then the final time was when I was hit by a car. That's kind of the most obvious. Blunt impact trauma, concussion, etc. So some people have this idea that when you get knocked out, it's just everything goes black for a while, or sometimes it's portrayed in the way that the character in a fictional story is struggling to stay conscious, like unconsciousness just tries to slowly creep up on them and envelop them in darkness or whatever, and they try to fight it off. But it's really more of a, or at least the experiences that I've had were really more of a jump cut almost. It's really strange. So in case of the gym episode, I was just sitting there trying to recover. I was just getting worse and worse. I felt absolute crap. I was sitting there on the bench in the locker room, and then next thing I knew, like from one moment to the other, immediately, next thing I knew, I was lying on the ground. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? What just happened? I mean, I could puzzle it together, of course, what happened. And then I also hit my head when I fell over, but I have no memory of that. I could just tell that afterwards, my head hurt, and I had swelling there. And that also really messed with my senses. I don't know if that was probably knocking my head on the floor that caused that. So I had a hard time seeing properly, and it was this really weird kind of blindness that has nothing to do with the eyes, but that's all in the brain. That's all how the brain processes the visual information. That's completely off. Like, I could still see, my eyes were still, perceiving things, but I couldn't really process them normally. Like, it wasn't double vision or anything. It was just when I looked at my phone, for example, to check, what time is it and what's happening, whatever, I couldn't focus on it. It was just kind of this, not even really blurry. It was just, it's hard to describe. It's a really bizarre visual impression. It was, out of focus. Just, I couldn't really, my brain couldn't make sense of what my eyes were seeing. And also as I was, after I struggled back up and I was sitting there trying to get my bearings, and other people came in, and I could hear them talk, and I couldn't make any sense of what they were saying. Like, I could hear the words, I could hear the noises, but my brain couldn't process the information. It couldn't, language center was just kind of off, and my thoughts were kind of scrambled. Actually, not necessarily so much scrambled. It was almost as if, like, in my head, there was still this conscious voice, kind of. There's still the narrator, if you will, kind of going on trying to make sense of things, but the connection to the real world was static. It didn't process properly. So that's the kind of thing that if that were to happen in combat, you'd be done. I mean, now even if you had a chance, like on a battlefield, you got knocked over the head and you went down, you weren't immediately finished off, and you had a chance to get back up, you'd be useless and incapable of fighting. You know, it's not this thing where, as I said, sometimes in fictional stories it's portrayed as this, oh yeah, the hero uses his iron willpower to get through this and fight it off. And no, it's just when your brain doesn't function properly because it has just been damaged, then that's it. There's nothing you can do. You're disoriented. You can't even act properly. The other instances when I was sick, I was also the same kind of instant jump cut, what the hell. One moment I was standing in the bathroom, I was shaving and just kind of gotta get ready to go to work. This is not gonna be fun because I feel that I'm sick and everything, but oh well, whatever. Next moment I'm looking up at the bathroom ceiling, you know, on the tiles in the shower. Fortunately, this was not the kind of setup where I could have hit myself on the bathtub or anything. It was just, you know, the shower was essentially just part of the bathroom directly. There were just tiles, and so I was just lying there and staring up, and like, I remember when I well, not came to, because it was not this, here I am, then it's black, and then it was just from one moment to the other. I vaguely remember I was kind of like a bug on its back, you know, just kind of making weird involuntary movements with my arms and legs, and kind of groaning, and then I was like, oh, what happened? Like completely out of the blue, just suddenly, from one moment to the other, I'm on the floor. Why? This is really weird. And when I was hit by a car, that was the most jarring experience of all, because I was getting ready to go to HEMA class. I was on my bike. One moment, the next moment, I'm lying in a hospital bed. And it was a, what? How? And there was a weird transition. And this is really, I can't really describe this properly. Kind of like a vertigo spinning sensation, and also a little bit, the way I remember it is almost as if you cram a bunch of really fragmented experiences and memories kind of together and put a blur filter on and speed it up and just give you like a second of that, like a bunch of stuff all together, and like this super bizarre transition. Like what I mainly felt was as if I don't know, if you look up too quickly and stuff starts to spinning or gets blurry or whatever, almost kind of like that, like this bizarre transition that's really strange. But for the most part, I just, that's where my conscious memory kicks in, what I can recall. The strange thing, like the really kind of freaky thing about that is that's at a point where others told me that I have been conscious for quite a while, actually. You know, at that moment when my conscious experience sets in, or continues rather, it's not, as I said, it's not this out, black, and now I'm back. It's more this from one moment to the other, whoop, what? And at that point I had already done things and talked to people, and, you know, I was surrounded by my spouse and friends, and I don't know, there's nothing. All of that is completely gone. There is no recollection of the accident itself. I don't know if I just was knocked out completely and was unconscious until I arrived in the hospital, or if I was conscious, or there's nothing. And there was also kind of fake memories at one point, because as I tried to think, okay, what happened? I've been trying to remember. I was trying to remember, okay, this is how I normally go on the bike. So where did this happen? Do I have any idea? And then I was thinking, okay, wait, this one spot on that route, I have kind of negative vibes from that. This is probably where it happened. But then I was told it was in a completely different place. So it's just such a surreal experience, and also really goes to show how fragile consciousness is, and how much your experience of being in a certain place, of doing certain things, and of being you, like this stream of consciousness, of experience, how that can be just messed with. Like, it would be easier to understand if there was this, boom, it's black, and now I'm back. That would be easier to process than this, what? What just happened? This internal struggle that the hero can overcome, but you can't. If you get knocked out, you're out. There's nothing you can do. It's just, you don't even realize what's happening. You're gone. Like, you're gone to the world, but you just, from one moment to the other, things changed. Oh, I'm on the floor now. Okay. So, yeah, that's been my experience. If you have other similar experiences or anything you want to add, really, feel free to talk about it in the comments. And yeah, hope you found it interesting, and thanks for watching. Have a good one, folks.